What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be we're going to be going through a real plethora of tonal territories. It's going to be I think it's going to be really special. I do hope you enjoy it. Finding out those little nuances, and I think you can go on that journey with me today. Let's hear a little what she has to offer. That'll tone the beast for a moment. Anyway, so welcome back, Doomers. Some of you might have spotted this guy in the back of the last video where I was demoing the HM-2. Well, this is Electro Harmonix Hell Melter. Obviously HM, they didn't put the number on here, but there are two switches, which is something over the original HM2, and it adds a bunch of other features over the HM2. So we've got a dry mix level, we've got a gate, we've got a normal and burn switch, which I think is just more gain, and we get another frequency band, and on top of that frequency band it also gets a frequency sweep, so we can start fine-tuning this a little bit more. And of course we will compare it to the Boss HM2 Wazacraft a little later, see what differences there are, but spoiler alert, I'd actually go with this over that. We'll find out why a little later on, but for now let's see what it's doing. We'll start by taming some of these settings, so we'll go on normal as well. We've got the dry level down. We'll reset the gate again. There it goes. Turn the boost off because that's responsible for a lot of that noise. Let's see what everything sounds like with the tones at noon. So pretty familiar HM2 territory there, like not actually incredible amounts of distortion. Still got that fuzzy kind of edge. I was having a few conversations with people in the comments of the HM2 video last week that how is the HM2 not called the Fuzz, right? And with that edge and the cleanup, it's pretty fuzzy. It acts very much like it. So that's that. It sounds like a HM2 really. So let's see where this distortion goes. This is it at full. And I think by how quiet that is, that's not getting ridiculous. It gets a little more hiss, but it doesn't start going crazy. It's just gotten thicker. There's just sort of a depth to it when you roll it round at full whack. I think it actually goes more distortion at that end. I think the fuzziness is actually more apparent when it's lower gain and we get the distortion side of fuzz torsion. But the really interesting thing to me was that we get an extra knob here and we get the sweep for it as well. Obviously the HM2 labeled things high and low. Which one is which? I'm not sure. And having played before making this video, I'm still not sure which is the HM2 original, which is new, or whether either of them are that. So one thing I will say is that that high knob, it's definitely still mid. Have a little listen. So that sounds like it's doing what the HM2 did. There's still high end in there, so we still get the pick attack and we get a bit presence, so it's not just rolling things off like a rat filter. But if I reset that and we use this mids, so how different do they sound? So So neither of them really affects the very top end, the actual presence of the sound, but they're definitely different mid frequencies. So I wonder if that mid frequency sweep here, how close does that get to that high end? So you can definitely hear that they're two mid bands. I'm going to call them that. Let's all agree that, please. They're mid bands. Stop calling them high bands. The lows I expect very much similar to HM2. So and that's why it's got a dry knob. You put that on bass. Sorry, I'm probably skipping bass today. So to really accentuate that mid band, let's give it a boost and sweep. Now the thing is, I like the high knob on the HM2, but it's a mid knob. What I'd really like is for there to be a high knob, because sometimes it is quite harsh. Instead, we've now gained a mid knob that can seemingly tailor the sound in ways that I just can't imagine using. Frankly, that's problem one I have with this pedal, that the EQ stack didn't actually address what I think a lot of people, at least I, would want to see from modifying the HM2. So let's listen to the burn toggle. We're at full distortion here, and that's basically another problem I have. That burns toggle doesn't do that much. Let's move on to the boost. Now, the boost is actually, I quite like. That's a significant boost in there and quite a good level for just peaking your solos over. However, why couldn't the dry level be a boost level? We can't set that. So if that's not where you want your boost to be and you actually want to go way louder, or maybe even if it's just that little bit too loud for you, it's not there. I guess I tried to give it a compliment there. Of course, I said the dry knob there. Why couldn't we replace the dry knob? The dry level, I get that for bass. And there's a surprising amount of bass demos out there about this, probably because they just saw that dry level and they know it's got a ton of low end. I'm not so sure it's that valuable in a pedal that's about extreme amounts of distortion. You know, if you're trying to get a little more clarity out of it, don't use this. But of course, it's also got a gate. And if you thought I was harsh about the other features, this gate is shit. Weird, because the gate on the Deluxe Big Muff is awesome. So I'm going to just push this in enough to get rid of that background noise. There it is. My initial attack isn't quite getting the transient, and when I stop playing, you know, this has got some string ring out, fair enough, I'll try and minimize that as much as I can. When I stop playing, we just get that release time a little too long. So if my stop is fast, I don't hear the gate in between there. So if I tighten that up a bit more. Now that's sounding better, but when I do a hold on a note, that's cutting in way too early. It's now useless to me for doing anything else. Now I'd think to pair that with a different gate, at which point I might as well have the HM2, and you're starting to see why I'd stick with a normal HM2. And speaking of HM2, let's see how they compare all of the knobs at noon, all of the knobs that can be shared anyway. So we've got the dry level down, we've got the gate down, we've got the normal switch in, and this is the Hell Melter. Okay, there it definitely does have more level, which is interesting. Let's see how I equate it out. So we're getting similar levels there. Not a huge amount more level, but that little bit more level. And it's quite commonly known that the HM2 is fairly quiet, at least its original circuit was. The Hell Melter definitely has this subtly different character that is still HM2. It's probably akin to that Klon thing. You know, that sounds like a Klon. That Soul Food sounds like a Klon. Blind test it and you wouldn't be able to pick which one's which. But visually see when you're switching and you'll know that there is something of a difference there. So let's compare those elusive high knobs. So there, the HM-2 is definitely more powerful on it. So what if we introduce the mid knob at the same time? Now that seems very similar, and considering that I don't find that high knob to be a true high knob on the Hellmelter, it seems that they've almost taken that one knob from the HM-2 and split it into two mid bands that need to work in tandem to actually do what the HM-2 does in one band. Let's try it the other way. Let's boost it. Okay, there's a difference. There's definitely a difference, but not hugely far off. Definitely still in the realms that I would say that neither of those high or mid knobs on the Hellmelter are doing something drastically different to what is in that one knob of the HM-2. This is the nail in the coffin for me of where the Hellmelter falls short. You could probably make it sound like the HM-2 just like that with tweaking the mid frequency. I don't think there's many people out there that's going to find a subtle grail of tone in shifting mid frequencies around this. So let's reset that and check out that burn knob. Custom switch on the back of the HM-2 will give us a few different things. It's the mid change, it's extra distortion, it's extra level. So here it is, HM-2 custom mode. Seems to have a low end boost as well. Standard mode again. So it kind of makes everything stand out more. Probably a shift that you could find in the Hellmelter, but compared to the burn, the burn definitely isn't that big custom shift. It's definitely just some extra distortion. It doesn't seem to be giving us a level boost either. More perhaps a perceived level boost by just getting more distortion. So let's try and match the Hellmelter to this custom mode. We got similar there, right? I think pretty similar, but there's something about the HM-2 that just feels tighter when it's there. And so the quality of sound overall on both modes of the HM-2, if it can be said of a HM-2, I find it a bit smoother. And you know, the HM-2 is cheaper, 40–50 pounds at least difference to get the Hellmelter for the sake of the one thing that I like on it, which is the boost. I just don't think that's worth it. And I love Electro Harmonix. Like, come on. If it were me, actually it is me, I'm probably going to move the Hellmelter on and use the money to get another pedal to tell you guys about. So in the meantime, fuck you, Doomers.